Thanks for pointing that out. My producer's upstairs. He went, "Wait, what? That's not right."
I've done some pieces that big.
Have you really?
I have.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, I did a piece in bronze that's 12 feet tall for the Special Forces headquarters at Fort Bragg. That was in my spare time.
This guy, I was going to say, this man he has no limit to the number of mediums he can work in. This piece is extraordinary. Your ability to do animals. It's very, very difficult to capture a personality of a creature. And yet this is your brand new Christmas fox. That's priced at $24.96. Your cardinals have become another kind of subcategory for collecting. Some people collect just your cardinals, and we've got those as well. This is called Winter's Joy, and both of these are extraordinarily limited. They're also one of the least expensive pieces. Look at the detail on just the fox.
Well, now, you know, I've done a lot of wildlife in photographic realism, you know. And I did that early on routinely. But I like to do something that's got a little, it's kind of a mix between realism, as you can see, and this kind of a little bit of whimsy, you know, so you can see an expression in his face and that sort of thing. So you know, actually the dimensions of him are fairly realistic, but you know, but the character and the personality has a little bit of whimsy and a little bit of there's kind of a lot of fun in this piece. But the nice thing about this piece here is that while it looks fairly simple until you start looking at the way the way it's decorated. Now, then I love doing this, and then I love doing it in this, well, sort of a monochromatic application where I do extreme patterning, you know, like this, detailed like this, just like I do when I do my engraving and that sort of thing, which I do a lot of that stuff too. And then come back with dry brushing. Go into the dry brushing, because these are hand painted, but it's a paint that is absorbed, so it becomes almost like a stain. Yeah, and it's layer upon layer upon layer. Layer upon layer upon layer. It's high density stuff. So, you know, any of these pieces, the surface on this stuff becomes part of the piece. As you can see, you can scratch all you want to, and that will not. That's part of the piece. So what we do is, you know, like red is not just red and brown is not just brown. It's a buildup of, you know, of base coating and then glazing and dry brushing and floating, what we call floating, which is this ombre shading like this, and then the, you know, the antiquing and that sort of thing. So collectively, you know, it's got that warm, handmade Americana.
Yes.
Look.
Yeah.
And so it's not just
I call it the look of love.
Something that's like dipped in paint and there it is, you know.
On your cardinal, I love how you never make it easy on yourself. You even did little winterscapes. There's reindeer on one side, and then a snowman on the other.
Yeah.
And even the trees are detailed and cut.
I love this piece, frankly. I like the dimension of it. You know, it's a little, once again, it's got that kind of whimsy. But, you know, telling this story like this, you know, cardinals don't migrate.
Right.
So they stick around in the wintertime. And a cardinal as sort of a little punctuation of color within this, you know, the frosty blues and grays of the winter setting is, I think, one of the most unique sights. And so, in this, I've sort of done, you know, a play on that by having the winter scenes as part of the, you know, as part of the scheme of this particular piece. So people who like to collect this particular subject, and there's a whole bunch of them out there.
Right.
I mean, the cardinal's probably maybe the most popular bird there is.
Well, cardinals, it is the most often used bird as a state bird.
7 times.
Yeah.
7 states.
Never played Trivial Pursuit with Jim Shore.
So
that's beautiful.
But that's a good, you know, I talked earlier about using pieces to, you know, to decorate around. This is a perfect example. You know, we use pieces like this and some of the mini pieces when we have dinner parties.
Okay.
And these are like place settings, you know. And when we have our friends over during the season, we want them to leave with a little something to remember the event. This is the kind of stuff that we set in front of.
The pieces that I have in my collection, it's funny, they pop up in the most obscure places. And my wife, she understands the joy that I get from these. In my heart, I wish to be a storyteller. So like with my 2 little grandkids, I can pull any one of your pieces
Well, you
off
are
a
a
shelf.
writer, I know that.
I do write, but you make it easy. I could pull this piece off and make up a story about the fox. So they pop up. My wife will take one off of a credenza and put it on my desk. Or I might find it in the bathroom, staring at me from across the sink, etc. And they just bring you joy. And there's a calming effect that comes from seeing your pieces. Look at the eyes of this fox and take it in. People who are true collectors, we absorb each piece. We study it to be able to see what you had in mind when you froze that moment and created it.
When you want an expression, it's the tilt of the eyebrow, the crease beside the eye, the condition of the mouth and everything. That collectively, gets the expression tells what they're.
You made him wise without motion. We've had over 400 of these that have been ordered already. Coming up in just a moment is an amazing, amazing collection piece that I think you're going to fall in love with. Now, at the end.